What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lost Boy Skates podcast. I'm your host, Lost Boy Skates. Check us out on Instagram at Lost Boy Skates 88 or at the Lost Boy Skates podcast. We also have a YouTube channel where I'll be posting videos of the episodes along with some extras that will also show up on Instagram. The most recent short featured a piece of my skate memorabilia. I actually shared about um, it's my signed Jeremy Ray audio shoe. Audio is not around anymore, and I used to skate these shoes for probably the last 2 to 3 years of my early skate career, if you will. Um, Also, I'd like to really give a big shout out to everyone that's checked out the podcast. Doesn't matter where you checked it out, whether it was YouTube, Buzzsprout, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on all of those now. And I truly, deeply appreciate it. I've had a lot of really positive feedback. I've had some suggestions from people. I've got a lot of people lining up who really want to come on the show and talk about their skate history. And I think that's going to be really important to this show is bringing some of my locals in and talking about their skate histories, right? We hear about all the pros and all the great things they've done. Honestly, I'd rather hear about my local guys a lot. I do appreciate my pros. I love meeting pros, especially guys that are, again, local pros. Um, but I really want to bring in guys that are important to our local community, whether it's Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland, Pennsylvania. Again, I want to just bring us all closer together. That's my goal of this podcast is not to make money off of it or anything like that. I just want to bring people together. I want to make the skateboard community more cohesive and stronger. Delaware already really has a really strong, cohesive skate community, and I think it's important that we just continue to build that and continue to spread that community. Skateboarding is about being inclusive. It's about being diverse. It's about bringing people together, and that's why it's so important. On top of bringing people in, I also, for the YouTube, I want to put together a 30 to 60-second montage of their skate clips. Uh, I just think it would be important to show people's skate efforts. It doesn't matter what level of skating you are. It's that effort. It's that resilience. It's just, putting it together and having fun. That's what brings me to skateboarding. That's what drives skateboarding. Anyways, enough of me preaching. Let's just jump right into today's episode. Today, I want to talk about skateboarding and music. There's a lot of different aspects about the relationship between skateboarding and music, and they really go together well, just like milk and cookies. And of course, I'm a fat boy, so I love me some milk and cookies. Aside from skateboarding, I've always played music, whether it was guitar, bass, singing, or screaming in bands. We used to go out and play shows in different areas, all up and down East Coast. And one of the things that I enjoy doing is when we would be out on tour would be to stop and skate, right? Find somewhere to skate because that was what I was doing at that point. Now, once I stopped skating, when I had my some of my worst injuries and stuff, and there was that period where I wasn't skating, I was healing up and all. By the time I was 21, I wasn't skating anymore, but I was still playing music. And the music I was playing was still bringing a lot of skaters in. So they would come in and they would, listen to the music and skate outside in the parking lot. And I always thought that was interesting. I always thought that was something that might motivate me to skate again. And a couple times it did. There would be periods where I think I was like 23 and like 25, somewhere around there. And I would pick up skating for a couple months again and, end up dropping it because I just didn't have the time. So, anyways, skate events are probably one of the most likely places that you'll have music, right? At some of the most recent skate events, there have been a lot of different types of music. First State Skate Supply, please check them out on Instagram. They are a mobile skate shop here in Delaware, located in Rehoboth. They go to a bunch of different places. You can also order stuff offline from James, and James will actually meet you places and try to make sure that you get the goods that you're looking for, right? So, but he brings a lot of music to these events, and one of the things that they bring is a DJ group. And these two guys, I wish I knew what their group was called. They are really creative. They put together these beats, like these samples, and then they'll play guitar on it, or add some bongos, add some additional sounds in, and it's really creative. And sometimes it really just fits, you know, the energy that's out there while we're skating. On top of that, you have your punk groups, your metal groups, death metal out there. One of my favorite bands that played out there that I was just introduced to as well was Babies with Rabies, a punk hardcore band from Washington, D.C. Get a chance, check them out. They're actually really, really good. And I believe on iTunes they have, I think it's a 9-song album, and then they have another song that's featured on a compilation. Again, really good band. I really like what they do, and I love the lyrics. I love the music. Their vocalist, again, he's a pretty solid vocalist. Um, but also during Winter Wagon 2023, hosted by at Skate Wagon, check them out. Winter Wagon 2024 is coming on February 3rd. Check them out to get more details on that. It's just simply at Skate Wagon on Instagram. Anyways, they do a nice mix of music. They do punk, they do rock, they do a little bit of rap, they do a little bit of everything. And what I really like about that environment is they put they intermix the genre. So first you'll hear like a punk band, hardcore band. Next thing you know, you're listening to a rap artist. The next thing you know, you're back to like a melodic rock band, and then kind of back to maybe a rap artist. Just depends on how many people they have coming out. But that mixture of the genres can really help change the dynamic of your skate events. You get that fast paced punk hardcore going, and you got guys that are just ripping and just going really hard, right? You get that rap artist, and then you get guys that are putting together solid lines. You bring in that melodic rock, and again, you get your people that listen to more rock music, and now they're also doing a little bit of everything. And it just really creates this wholesome environment, regardless of the lyrics, or you know the if there's cussing or anything like that. It doesn't really matter. Like, it really just brings us all together, and we all have a lot of fun doing it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate Skate Wagon and First State Skate Supply putting together these events and just putting on an awesome event. Like, it's just something that, again, really helps build the skate community. It really brings us together. Um, because of skateboarding, punk music ended up creating a subgenre called skate punk. And some prime examples of skate punk are Teenage Bottle Rocket, who have a song called Skate or Die, one of my favorite songs. MXPX, The Faction, who have a song called Skate and Destroy, really good song, really fast paced punk. And NoFX with their song Separation of Church and Skate. However, skateboarding and music, it's not just rock and punk. We also have rap, and I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Lil Wayne skateboards, and despite not being the most skillful, he has a lot of fun with it. He has passion for skateboarding. I've actually watched a lot of his skate clips, and honestly, like, he's continuing to progress, and he takes skateboarding seriously, right? But we're gonna get talk a little bit more about Lil Wayne a little later as well. Lupe Fiasco wrote a song called Kick Push, which later became a skate anthem for a lot of the younger skateboarders coming up. A lot of the younger guys that I've met who had started skating when I had restarted skating, you know, they were listening to more rap than rock. And guess what? That's a solid song. I think it's really good. And in order for him to have written that song, Lupe Fiasco honestly has to either been very close to the skateboard community or had to have skated at one point, because he really talks a lot about, the real skateboarding, right? Um, so I also want to give a quick shout out RP Sean. He was a friend of mine who, passed away some years back, and that was one of his favorite songs was Kick Push by Lupe Fiasco. Um, Getting back on track, music can provide energy to skateboarding. And for me to listen to certain bands, it it can really change my mood when I'm skating. For example, I really like listening to, of course, Teenage Bottle Rocket, 4 Year Strong. 4 Year Strong is a what we call a happy hardcore. They're kind of like a little bit poppy, got a little bit of hardcore in them. Um, late More recent stuff is a little more hard rock, not as punk oriented, but I mean, they're always a solid band. They always put together solid albums, and it's not just a couple songs on an album that you can listen to. It's a whole, you know, 12 to 14 songs that you can sit down and actually listen to and enjoy. And that's one of my favorite things about them. And again, it's one of my favorite things to skate to. I use one of their songs for a lot of my skate clips when I learn a new trick. I'm gonna talk about my top 5 songs that I really like to listen to when I skate a little later as well. Um, anyways, so when I'm not listening to rock and I'm listening to rap, I wanna listen to different types of rap. Like I like Ludacris. I like him because he's just funny. He's got a lot of energy. He's loud, obnoxious, and sometimes that's what skateboarding is. It's loud and obnoxious, and it's fun. Um, Method Man, who's got this smooth style. He mixes a little bit of old school with a little bit of new school rap, and he's just so solid in his lyrics. Um, just again, really good. Anybody that kind of sounds like Method Man, Wu Tang Clan, Ghostface Killer, I love listening to those guys when I skate. And then you got Tech Nine. Tech Nine is a little bit darker, but again, when I'm having that hard day and I really want something a little darker to listen to, then I turn on some Tech Nine, and it just really puts me in the right mood. My biggest struggle is mismanaging my mood, right? Picking the wrong music to listen to and giving me the wrong energy for skating can sometimes cause me to kind of like lose my flow for skateboarding and then not have the best of days, right? I still think any day on a skateboard is better than not being on a skateboard. Uh, but yeah, so I mean, those that's just how music affects me with skateboarding. I don't listen to it too often when I'm skating, only because sometimes I just want to be in the moment. I want to be mindful of all the people around me. But if I'm alone, or if there's just like me or a couple guys I'm not really familiar with, then I'll pop in some music, some headphones, and go skate. Um, but music, just like giving energy to somebody while they're skating, it can really change the way a skate video flows, right? Music can really make a skate part flow smoother and make all the clips come together in one solid piece of art. Skateboarding is not only just a sport, but it's also an art form, right? It's self-expression at its finest. You pick the wrong song though, it can throw off your music, your video part so easily. I prefer to use odd songs for my skate parts. Um, a perfect example of awesome pairing of skating and music is Chad Fernandez's part in Globe Opinion. He uses Thunder Kiss 65 by White Zombie, and just it's a nice, like even paced hard rock song while he's got just smooth technique in all his tricks. And he varies it up. He'll do, do a line, and then do big single tricks. And it just seems to really fit that song. It's probably one of my favorite things about that skate part, and that it's the opener of the Globe Opinion video. So that really sets the tone for the rest of the video. One part that I really wasn't a big fan of was Diego Bucher's song in Good and Evil. And P Rod's part where he had Sonic Youth in the background. It just didn't really fit the skateboarding. This is completely my opinion. It just didn't really fit what I felt like the energy was from their skating. Um, Again, I could be wrong, right? I'm just sharing my own opinion, my own observations. Um, my most recent skate video, I used um, Put a Little Love in Your Heart, covered by the Circle Jerks. Other songs I've used in the past is Police Truck by the Dead Kennedys, Hard Times by Ludacris. I also used a song by the 1975, but I cannot remember the title of it. I haven't listened to them in quite a while, so I just can't remember what song it was. Uh, in the last video I did, I really wanted to use I'm Still Standing by Elton John, but I couldn't get the right flow for the skating for it. I just didn't feel like the song really fit the skating, even though it fit the situation. Um, I wanted to use that song as my comeback song because I wanted to show people, like, hey, I got hurt, I'm back, I'm healed, and I'm moving forward, and I'm still standing. I'm still gonna keep skating. And again, it just didn't fit. But then I was listening to my iPod one day, and that's Put a Little Love in Your Heart by the Circle Jerks came on, and I was just like, this is perfect. Like, I feel like this really fits the skate video that I want to do. And the timing was just perfect. So it made me feel good to pick a song that really fit. Um, so next, I want to kind of talk about skateboarders and their history with music. So Mike Vallely stated he started listening to Black Flag and skateboarding around the same time in 1984 during an interview with Double Cross, a hardcore music online fanzine, in April of 2010. On the Jedberg podcast, episode 64 in June of 2022, Mike V would expand on this, talking about a Black Flag show where he had gone to in 1984. And there's this guy in the parking lot just shredding um, and doing a lot of slashes and stuff. And people just started kind of gathering around and started watching the skateboarding. And eventually, one of Mike V's friends came over to him and was like, "Hey, um, my dude Mike V can skate. You should let him borrow your board." And after like a little bit of convincing, the guy allowed Mike to skate. And of course, Mike put on a clinic like he always does at any skate demo. If you watch him in Drive, his skateboard documentary, you get to see like he always puts on a clinic no matter what he's doing. Even if he's just skating by himself on a little cement pad, he still puts on this wonderful skate clinic. So, and of course, Mike V is now the lead singer of Black Flag, and he's been the lead singer of multiple punk bands. And just again, that relationship between skateboarding and music is just so strong. And that's just a really perfect example of it. Steve Caballero, inventor of the Caballero, was bassist and guitarist for a band called The Faction. They were a band from 1982 until about 2020. And some of their earliest demo tapes had the words "music by skaters for skaters" inscribed in them. My personal favorite song, again, by them is "Skate and Destroy," of course, because it's about skateboarding. And on top of that, it's just a really fast paced song. Um, it's very easy to skate to punk because, their rhythm, even if you're skating slow, you can actually find a decent rhythm to put together for it. Earlier, I talked a little bit about Lil Wayne, and I'm going to jump back to Lil Wayne now. Um, in Double XL magazine, writer Zoe Johnson wrote about rappers and skateboarding in 2020. She mentioned Lil Wayne started skateboarding more seriously in 2011. He mentioned how skateboarding is therapeutic, and I can relate to that. Skateboarding is my therapy. When I've had a hard week, when I'm stressed out, when I need something to help me refocus myself and get back on track with life, skateboarding is always there. And I think that's why my passion for skateboarding is so strong now. It's just because I have that opportunity to have something that helps me heal, right? In a way that talk therapy, in a way that music has not had for me, skateboarding is there. Rap and skateboarding have had a long history dating back to the Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys had skateboarding in some of their music videos. I'm pretty sure those guys even skated at one point and talked about the skateboarding. Of course, I don't think they were ever any good, but other rappers that have tried skating or that have skated is like Logic. A lot of people think Logic is corny. I actually find Logic. I think he's real. I like his music. I like his flow. And the fact that this dude played a game of skate with another rapper during like in between one of their sets was awesome. Like that's just so cool to know that these guys are having fun, as much fun on skateboarding as I do. Um, but again, music can also be therapeutic, like I mentioned. And I think that again just shows the relationship between skateboarding and music just so much more. Um, Lastly, I want to talk about my top 5 songs I like listening to when I skateboard. The first one, and this is always going to be my top pick, "Heroes Get Remembered, Legends Never Die" by 4 Year Strong. Uh, this is probably the most common song you will see me post when I learn a new trick and I post it to Instagram. There's just this part in the beginning where um, they kind of like have the intro riffs and then it opens up into the main riff of the song. And it's like perfect timing for when you're trying a new trick and you finally get it. It just really makes me appreciate that song so much more. And just the message in it. Like, you know, I want to be known for the things I've done in life that were positive for my community, which is like a part of it is skateboarding. I really hope I've had a positive impact on not just my local skate community, but I want to have an impact on bringing other skate communities together, right? My number 2 pick would be "See Me" by Tech Nine featuring Wiz Khalifa and B.O.B. This song I stumbled upon one day. I don't really remember how I learned about this song, but it's just one of my favorite rap songs, and it's just got a really nice flow. And when I skate to it, I always have a good time. The next one is Act Right by Method Man. Again, Method Man's flow, and in this song, he's just a little bit more aggressive than in a lot of his other songs, and it just really does it for me. Again, it's another song that if I'm having a rough day, I pop this song on. All of a sudden, my skate day turns around, and I'm not sure why. Skate or Die by Teenage Bottle Rocket. Um, Disclaimer though, I could listen to anything by Teenage Bottle Rocket. I got to see them live, and they're just a really fun energy, really positive, energy that I get from them, and I think that reflects in their music. So when I'm sitting there listening to it and I'm skating, I always end up having a fun time. Uh, Last song is "Hard Times" by Ludacris. It's one of Ludacris's less energized songs, really has a really positive impact on me, and the reason being is, like, he's really talking about, when we're going through stressful times, and I actually used this song for one of my videos a few years back, and unfortunately, it was deleted off of YouTube, um, probably because of the song, but, it really fit what I was doing in the video. That was also a really hard year for me. There was a lot of stress, a lot of things going on in life, and just trying to figure out where I was going. Because when you hit that late 20s, early 30s area, your life starts to change a lot, and there's a lot of different things that start going on. And you know, one thing was my kids were getting older. They were getting to a point where they're kind of wanting to go off and do their own things. And that's kind of freaky for me because, you know, you raise these kids and you hope that they're going to be safe. You hope they're going to make good choices. And that's a big source of anxiety for me because I hope that I've had a positive impact on them. You know, I'd like to believe that I do, but the only way you really get to see that is through their actions and the person that they become as they become an adult. And that's something that you got to let them spread their wings and do. And for me, that's very difficult to do. I hate my daughter's dating. I know it's a part of life, but I hate it. And sometimes I feel like I try to protect them too much from certain things, and that's not good for them to grow. And I know I'm kind of going off on a wild tangent here, um, and I apologize, but it's just something. These are things that come to me, and that's when I go skate. It helps me figure these things out. It helps me get back on track, and adding music on top of that really just helps bring it all together into you know me being mindful of being here in the moment and being mindful of, the things that I can control and the things that I can't control, right? Um, a little bit different of an episode just because I kind of, you know, branched out a little bit. I actually did a little bit of research for this episode because I thought it was really important to just talk about music and skateboarding and how therapeutic music and skateboarding can be and how they are so interconnected with one another. Um, Again, I really want to express my appreciation for everybody that's been checking out the episodes. Uh, I'm going to try and bring out a new episode every week. Sometimes I might not be able to, so I might end up doing like shorts on YouTube or for Instagram. Uh, I have a bunch more skate memorabilia that I eventually want to do little short videos for. I think it's pretty cool to have a piece of your skate history, especially if it's from your favorite skaters. You're sitting there supporting them, and none of my skate memorabilia is for sale, so don't ask. Like, that's for me. It's something for me, and I'm gonna be selfish about that, right? Because I these pro skaters, they don't always like people getting their signatures and their autograph and then reselling it. Like, that's kind of jacked up. Um, Again, quick shout out to all my locals, Central Skate Supply in Ridgely. We've got Skate Wagon up in Quarryville, Pennsylvania. We've got I'm sorry, The Yard at Ambler. up in Pennsylvania. Indoor skate park. I love it. That's where I go and I do my training during the winter. It's I like it a lot better. There's also Charm City down in Baltimore, Maryland. Uh, Quick shout out to my local skate shops again. We've got Kinetic in Wilmington, Delaware. We've got Switch in Newark, Delaware, and we've got First State Skate Supply down in Rehoboth. Um, I just love what all these guys do for the community. They're always doing so much, and everybody that I've mentioned does something special for our community and really brings us together. And I can't express my appreciation for that. So listen, take care. Let me know how you feel about the episode. Leave me some feedback, suggestions. I'm taking a list of people that want to come on the show, and eventually I'm going to be putting out those invites. So keep an eye out for those. And like I said, just let me know if you're interested in coming on. Take it easy and keep skating.